Hello everyone and welcome to another Pyro gaming video. So legendary shards are pretty important, and I'm willing to bet that if you clicked on this video, you are running low on them. Without legendary shards, you can't infuse your gear, you can't buy stuff from Xur, you can't do a lot of things, so needless to say, they are pretty important and you want as many of them as possible. Now the same can be said for Glimmer, and if you are running low on Glimmer, then click the link in the top right corner of your screen. I've already made a video on it, but this video we are focusing on legendary shards. Now, I am willing to bet that most of you that are, quote, low on legendary shards are actually setting on a huge stockpile of them and just don't realize it. Now, what I mean by this is if you have, for example, year 1 gear in your vault, there is absolutely no reason for you to have year 1 gear in your vault, because you can go buy year 1 gear from collections anytime you want, so there's no reason for you to keep year 1 stuff. If you have year 1 armor or weapons in your vault, for the love of Jesus Christ, dismantle it. There's no reason for you to keep it. Unless you use it on a daily basis. That would be the only exception. But if you don't use it on a daily basis, throw it away, man. Don't be a hoarder. Don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that's like, Bungie, when are we going to get more vault space when you have 500 slots? Why do you need that much vault space? It makes no sense. Get rid of it. But that's an easy way to get some quick legendary shards and get rid of the stuff in your vault that you don't use, or you don't need, or you don't need to save, like the year 1 stuff. The same thing can be said for a lot of shaders. Not all shaders dismantle into bright dust. A vast majority of them dismantle into glimmer and legendary shards. So if you are setting on, say, 1,000 of the escalation protocol shaders in your inventory, then you have 1,000 legendary shards sitting there waiting for you, just not being used. You can pull shaders from collections whenever you need them, so you don't need these massive stacks of each one of these shaders. It's also worth noting that for these shaders specifically, Bungie is even recommending that you dismantle all of your Eververse shaders into Bright Dust to build up a stockpile, because the system will be changing in Shadowkeep in September. Now, there are some activities out in the world that you can go farm that yield a high amount of legendary shards in a short amount of time. The best activities, in my opinion, are the raids. Although you don't want to just go do any raid, you want to do either Leviathan, which is what you're watching now, because it typically gives you an armor piece, a weapon, and 10 tokens per encounter, and those tokens can then be used to rank up Benedict to get even more gear, or Last Wish, because there are just so many encounters that drop so much gear. I would also recommend just farming strikes and nightfalls for as long as you feel like doing. The reason that these are good is because if you have the Boon of the Vanguard, you can go ahead and throw those on, and in addition to your normal drops, you will also get either more tokens, or you will get an exotic or a legendary piece of gear, which can then be dismantled into, you guessed it, legendary shards. But in strikes, you have the chance to get the legendary gear at the end of the match, and you also get the tokens, which you can then use to rank up Zavala to get more gear to dismantle to get more legendary shards. Now, the same thing can be said for Crucible, although Crucible is much more of a time sink. It is not nearly as efficient as strikes, because Crucible doesn't give you nearly as much tokens as strikes do. If strikes didn't give you as much tokens as they do, I wouldn't recommend them for farming legendary shards, because it would just take too long. It wouldn't be efficient. But as it currently stands, with the amount of tokens that you do get from strikes, it is a viable option, because you can rank up Zavala about every 20 minutes. So it's definitely worth doing if you are in a pinch. And speaking of ranking up vendors, head over to Brother Vance on Mercury, because he is going to be the best vendor to rank up if you are specifically going for legendary shards and enhancement cores. The reason that Vance is so good is because for 55 planetary materials, he will give you an armor piece, a weapon, and a shader, all 3 of which can be dismantled into legendary shards. In addition to that, he also gives you just straight up legendary shards. You can see that each time I rank him up, I'm getting some legendary shards. Ranking him up 3 times, I can get close to 30 legendary shards. You get around 10 each time you rank him up. So it is definitely worth it to just go pop on Sagiro Shell, go farm Mercury for a little bit, get some simulation seeds, and rank him up as much as you can. You will also want to head over to Mars and get rid of whatever resonance stems you happen to have collected in your inventory and go do the override frequencies. Now these are the music boxes that you find all over Mars, all over Hellas Basin, all over the Drift, all over all of that stuff. Each time you open up one of these music boxes, it is guaranteed to give you a couple of shaders that will dismantle into legendary shards, but it also has a really high chance of giving you some legendary gear, things like sparrows, ghost shells, and weapons and armor from year one. So these are actually a pretty good way to collect some legendary shards, especially if you are running very low on them. And while you are on Mars, you might as well go ahead and try to get some Escalation Protocol, because farming Wave 6 and 7 will give you a ton of EP shaders and gear that will dismantle into shards. From there, you want to go ahead and make your way to the Dreaming City and go ahead and destroy any of these dragon eggs that you see scattered around the map that you have not destroyed yet. There are 40 of these in total in the Dreaming City, and each one that you destroy with Wish Ender, you can only destroy them with Wish Ender, will give you one piece of legendary gear. So do the math. You destroy 40 eggs, get 40 legendary pieces of gear, dismantle them for 3 shards apiece, you have 120 legendary shards sitting in the Dreaming City waiting for you to go collect. And while you are destroying these eggs, make sure that you pop a Tincture of Queensfoil and pick up all of the Ascendant chests as well. There are 10 Ascendant chests per curse cycle, so 30 in total, and they have a high chance to give you a legendary piece of gear, which you can dismantle for, let's say it together, 3, 2, 1, legendary shards. You guessed it, guys. Good job. High five. So that's some of the more abstract ways that I can think of for you guys to get some legendary shards in a hurry. But some of the other ways are just playing the game normally. Doing your Nightfalls every week on all 3 characters will give you quite a bit of legendary shards. Doing, things like the Dreaming City milestones give you a ton of legendary gear that can be dismantled into legendary shards. And just overall, being smart with your stuff, there's not really much reason for you to just hold on to a ton of tokens for the Vanguard and the Crucible. If you are running low on legendary shards, those are really easy ways to get them. And same thing goes for planetary vendors. A lot of people are going to Spider right now and just buying planetary materials for, getting 5 of them for 1 legendary shard, and that seems like a really good deal, but before you know it, when you're infusing a ton of gear, you're burning through hundreds of legendary shards on these planetary materials that you can literally go out and farm for free on the destinations. Each one of the destination has 3 bounties a day that they offer. Each bounty gives you 10 planetary materials. If you have 3 characters, that is 90 planetary materials per destination that you can get every single day completely for free without having to spend any legendary shards in order to get them. And same goes for buying enhancement cores from Spider with legendary shards. Don't do it. We have gunsmith bounties. You don't need to spend legendary shards at Spider to get enhancement cores. You can literally go get, I think it's 9 enhancement cores for free a day, like really quickly. And that's not including the ones that you can also go get from Spider, like by doing his bounties and stuff. Enhancement cores aren't even an issue anymore with the introduction of gunsmith bounties. They are plentiful and bountiful, and they are easy to get. You don't need to buy them anymore. And the last little farming method that I'm going to leave you guys with is the Menagerie. Now, right now in the Menagerie, it is kind of busted whenever you get to the final chest. You have 300 seconds that you can just kind of run back and forth and open the chest as many times as you have runes. Now, this is going to be patched on July 9th. I'm making this video, obviously, before July 9th. But after July 9th, you will only be able to open the chest 1 time, and that is it. So, before July 9th, if you are running low on legendary shards, that is a good way to just get a bunch of legendaries in a short amount of time. Just try to get as many chest openings as you can before July 9th, and you should have a nice little stockpile. And that is going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully it helps you out, and hopefully you get those shards that you need. If you enjoyed this video, click like. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, I fucking love you. Don't forget, if you are also running low on Glimmer and Enhancement Cores, I do have videos up on my channel for how to farm both of those as well. Thanks for watching this one, guys, and take care.